We are in Algonquin Park. This is the trailhead to the Highland Backpacking Trail. We are setting off for the August long weekend, but we are taking Tuesday off so that we don't drive home in the holiday traffic, all heading back to the city Monday. We are camping around Provoking Lake and on Fire Lake. So we're setting out, we put the backpacks on. My first thought when I loaded up my backpack was, oh, this isn't so bad. By the time I got across the parking lot, I said, it's starting to feel a bit heavy. We'll see. After an hour, I suspect I'll have different words. Jenny and I try so hard to pack light, and every time we weigh the backpack before we leave, it's some horrendous weight, way above what the young people seem to get away with. I don't know if it's extra bedding, extra clothing. It certainly isn't extra heavy food because we dehydrate everything, and we think we're pretty light on the camping materials. But, oh yeah, we did bring some fresh hamburgers for the first meal. But that was a bit of weight. What else was in there? Well, some buns. They're not heavy. They just took up space in the backpack. So, we'll see how it goes. Oh yeah, there's a fire ban, so we can't use the stick stove. So we had to bring propane. So that's a little extra weight. So I figured I'd just show you a little bit of the trail. We're, I don't know, a good 20 minutes into it. And so they have some lookouts here, which are kind of a nice reward, because not only do you get a nice view, you get a breeze when you're high up. So at this point, we're actually still near the trailhead and we're still near the highway. Or when we get in further, and we are going perpendicular away from the highway, when that happens, it'll get quieter and quieter. It's possible you can see through the trees a campsite, and if that's coming out, that's actually an organized campground, not nothing to do with backcountry camping. So somebody drove up and set up their tent and are allowed to bring heavy stoves and lots of extra clothes, equipment, campers, whatever, but that we just saw was a tent. There's some nice hills on this part of the trail. You can feel your breathing rate starting to go up substantially when you climb a hill. And at least for me, that's probably reasonable, because I got a backpack that's somewhat approaching 40 pounds, if not pretty well there. What we do is we bring fresh food on our first leg because we planned it not really to be horribly taxing in terms of length. And then, so we put in this fresh food to give us a fresh lunch and dinner. And then of course it's a lot lighter for the next leg tomorrow and the leg out. So I guess this is kind of like a warm-up, and then tomorrow we're all worked and all the muscles are all totally warmed up from yesterday, and, or at least they were warmed up. They're going to be sore, and then we really put them to work on the distance rather than on the sheer climbing up with that much extra load on the back. So this is one of the nice little spots you come across on the hike.
Yeah.
The attack of the mosquitoes. They prefer Jenny. She tastes better than me. Pretty busy right here. Here's Jenny catching up to me. Where we've got to is Fort, the trail. There's the difference between Provoking East and West. They all also have a little clipboard, a metal shelter that has a map in it. Jenny and I both have the map on our phone, and the GPS capabilities are active, so we know exactly where we are. I think at the beginning of this video I might have mentioned we're going to Provoking West and then East. When I checked our reservation, it's the other way around. Provoking East and then West. And off we go. I think we might have another hour, maybe less. We've been about an hour and 20 minutes. So here we are in East Provoking Lake. Our campsite is set up. And we're defrosting those burgers. Interestingly enough, putting all of the frozen food in a cooler bag. We had it in a freezer pack, like with freezer packs in a cooler that was electrically powered to keep it cool all the way driving up here. Then we hiked through here and we thought everything would be defrosted in time for lunch. What happened was, it's getting there. It may be near freezing point. So we have to leave those there in the sun, hoping they'll defrost. There's another one over there we're hoping to defrost. When Jenny and I discussed what we wanted to bring in the way of frozen fresh food, I said, should we bring all of them? And I thought she was agreeing with me, and it turned out she said 4, because we're bringing 4 buns, and that's as much as she thought we could eat in one day. And you can't take this along to tomorrow because it's fresh food. So we're going to really be stuffing our faces with burgers today from the looks of it. I've laid out our liquor and our fresh water, and behind me over here is the fire pit that we're not allowed to use because there's a fire ban. And what else do we have? We set up our hammock. We also found that they had this clothesline that somebody left here from before, and I didn't see that, and I went and set up our own usual clothesline right here. So we've got our stuff here hanging out, socks and towel and stuff that got wet while we were using it. So let's see what else we have going on. I set up our water filtration system. If you look behind me, you'll see there's a big rock with a tree coming out of it, and I'm looking at grade. I want to tie the bag and the filter on a tree and have a little more drop than just the height of one body. So basically I've got this bag here, so I keep this filled with lake water. This is my filter, and it's intended that you have a sealed bag, you screw it into it and you squeeze it. This is a pretty popular brand, Sayer. What I've done is hook this hose on, and if you follow the hose, it goes down well below one body height to this catching bag. It's 15 liters, and because of the drop and the fact that the hose is full of water, it's sucking with fair pressure, and every short while I have to run up and put another pan full of water into the filtration system to keep it. If it empties, water or air gets forced or sucked into the filter, and to restart it involves a fair amount of priming and so on. So anyway, that's my water filtration system. I normally run it for an afternoon, and I get way too much of Ontario's filtered and bottled water. There's a big industry of bottling up our water after filtering it and then selling it. Well, we make it here and sometimes have to use it to put out campfires. This right behind me is, I thought somebody had made a fire pit underneath a tree, and actually they obviously had it at some point. But mostly what this big hole is there was a lot of rocks here, and people pick out the rocks to do things with, such as making a fire pit. Not that we're near it, but there's a place where somebody created a very, very tiny fire pit for cooking. What I did was took out most of the easy rocks out of that hole, built a little brick wall between these two trees. Why did I do that? We're going to set up our camp stove there, and there's a nice breeze. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. Nice breeze. It's not hot. It's sunny, but it's not ideal for cooking. So we needed to have a windbreak. So there's a fire pit. We're banned from having fire, so this is obviously out of use. But I didn't steal the bricks from it. Might as well leave it intact. So basically we just sort of unpacked enough stuff to get everything ready, and we've just abandoned everything now. We're about to cook. Cooking involves building an enormous windbreak, which you can see since the last video. I had to make it bigger. There's a little gas camp stove buried in amongst all those rocks, and we're just alternating two pots between the heat and sitting aside, because it's actually too hot, and yet it's sort of on minimum. So there's obviously not a lot of wind blowing through there. Oh, and the cup has a pair of teeth in it. These burgers, smothered in melted mozzarella cheese slices, are looking, oh yeah, and there's toppings. We created lots of mushroom and onion. We brought dehydrated onion and dehydrated mushroom. We rehydrated them, cooked them in this pot, and then we're putting them on the burger over top of the cheese. The burger is an extremely spicy Chinese hamburger, a term I just learned in Canada recently, because the Chinese don't have hamburgers. Oh, that's mine. We're taking a hike down a little side trail at our campsite to find the Thunder Box. And there it is. Convenient lake access for washing your hands. So when you pick up the lid, there's a seat. You can put toilet paper on it, sit on it. And when you're finished, you put the lid down to keep it clean and dry for the next person. So that's a Thunder Box. And they're always a fair hike from the campsite. On day 2, we've walked around Provoking Lake, and we're trying to get a spot on the far side from where we were camping. And we do have a reservation and a permit, so there's supposedly one that's not in use that we can use. We got away nice and early, which is nice because it's going to be a hot day. And we theoretically only have 3 or 4 kilometers of hiking, so it's not a very heavy day. It's a case of just timing it right, that we get a spot we really like, nice location, nice layout, and happens not to be taken at the time. So there's lots of changes of elevation here. You got close to 40 pounds on the back. I'd say hopefully it's down to 35 now that we ate some of the fresh food. And when you go uphill, you can really feel your breathing is increasing. So it's good exercise. So today is the short walk to set up another campsite and stay the night, and then over to the one that's really, really hard to get, which is Fire Lake. We had to book it for the Monday night of a long weekend and take the Tuesday off work to drive home in order to get this spot. And they're forecasting rain. We got it last year on the last day of a long weekend, and it rained that day too. So we'll see how it goes. So there's a few mosquitoes. There's quite a shortage of deer flies, horse flies, flies. So all the buzzing stuff is just the odd mosquito. So we're very lucky that way. Oh, it still goes up. Oh, this one goes up for a long way. Okay. Second campsite. We're on the region called West Provoking Lake, and we're right, I think it's at the southern tip. So Jenny is just resting in the tent. We haven't put the top on it yet. It's airing out. We've set up our kitchen over here. So we've got our cook stove and all our food supplies. And when we had lunch today, we had 6 absolutely delicious spicy hamburgers with fried onions. And the side of our campsite is this huge great rock cliff. This is the trail into the campsite that comes down off the top of that. And that's the trail up to the Thunderbox. And then there's the hammock and the waterfront. I checked out what happens if you go up the path behind our food preparation area. So I guess people sometimes come up here looking for firewood. So once you come up here, you get an aerial view of our campsite. So there's Jenny down in the hammock, waving away at us. There's a branch in the way, you can hardly see. That's a fair way down, I think. I don't think I'd want to do something silly. Jen, you asked me to bring you your phone. Did you also want your Spanish coffee now?
No.
No? How about a regular aperitif?
Okay.
Okay. So that's our food preparation area, but if you turn and look over here, this is the base of a little rock ledge, a little rock wall beside it, beside the campsite. I presume this tree started as some kind of little weed in the side of the rock, and that maybe is 50 years ago. And today, it's absolutely a huge canopy over the website. And so there is the top of the ledge surrounding, or not surrounding, but going along one side of our campsite. And that's actually the path up and around on top of that to get out of the campsite to go to the trail in the woods. Good morning. It's Monday morning. We had a nice rainstorm last night, and it's getting on for 7 in the morning, and I just thought I'd stand outside and take a look around and see what's up. So the water's calm, there's no wind, the rocks I'm standing on have actually dried off for the morning after it got rained on all night. I guess I slept pretty well. For me, 6:30 is sleeping in. And it's actually quite warm. I get the feeling it's going to be a hot day today.
Here at the Fire Lake, Algonquin, and August Civic long weekend, and this is a great campsite with one tiny lake and one campsite. You just have to swim. You can swim whatever you want because there's literally nobody around you. It's very nice campsite, and just by ourselves. There's the lake. In the afternoon, we're relaxing. David's playing his iPhone, that's the tent. I'm just relaxing in the hammock, read my book on my iPhone. That's the lake. Fire Lake, small lake. Can you imagine? There might be a bear behind that trees. Who knows? But behind those trees, there's no bear. It's just us. Dave. Lake. This is pretty much in my retirement life. If I'm retired, I will stay here for a week. Not a month, for a week.
So this is where we are sitting, having our dinner. This is a side area of Fire Lake. Fire Lake goes way up in that direction around the corner. And we're on a peninsula that juts out into that little lake. So Jenny, you're killing all the bugs with an electric fly swatter. That is invaluable to have that with us. So we have our dinner in the pot, which is you boil the water for a long time with the dehydrated food that's been soaking for a long time, and it cooks, and then you leave it longer so it comes down to a decent temperature for eating, and then you put it in the bowls. So we're just sitting here waiting for it to finish what it has to do. And then we can have some dinner. So the cool thing is, oh, thank you, Jim. Whoops, you're bumping it.
The cool thing is the dehydrate is not necessary, and then he did the corn.
Why isn't it necessary?
You don't dehydrate corn, it's so hard to cook.
Well, okay, yeah, it is. But it was very light to bring in.
Yeah, he brought, how many hamburgers you brought in?
Okay, 9 hamburgers, and we really enjoyed them.
9 hamburgers. We brought the dehydrated food. We literally, this is the only meal we're using dehydrated food.
Yeah, oh, except the mushrooms to put on the hamburgers. We dehydrated
yeah, but
those,
I
right?
didn't like those mushrooms.
Oh yeah. Oh, and then there was the dehydrated fried onions I got in the Indian section of the grocery store. You don't even have to rehydrate them. They're just
that
a
was
crunchy
pretty
snack.
Good.
They were pretty good. They added a nice crunch.
The crunch you put on a burger make a burger like crunchy and
that was
tastes
really
pretty good.
And then we both finished all of the available aperitif for the whole holiday. It was 4 days, and we perfectly budgeted it right to the last bit of spilt stuff in pouring it.
You can hear from his voice he's drunk.
What? No, I'm not drunk. But I'm comfortable. At that angle, you're supposed to be able to tell more easily, right? Okay, let's go round the back and do the full circle. So that's what we're sitting looking out at. Beautiful piece of like evergreen softwood forest. But unlike all the other lakes that we're normally at, there are no campsites. They're almost for as far as you can imagine. If you look on the map, you have to go all the way up to the highway, and that's a long, long way off. And this isn't even the right direction for it. So, can we eat yet?
No?
No? Oh, okay, we have to wait longer. That's the thing about dehydrated food. It's light, but there's a lot more than just getting it hot to eat it.
Are you hungry? I don't think you're hungry.
We haven't had a lot to do today. I think more I'm looking for the next step.
You had 4 eggs and bacon.
Oh yeah, that omelet was just so delicious. And it was dehydrated bacon. It was fully cooked and it was dehydrated. And then you put it in the pan with some coconut oil, fry it up, and it's just like fresh bacon. So we had that with a absolutely delicious omelet. 4 eggs isn't really too much.
It's a lot.
I did a hike of 1.6 kilometers. I know that's not a lot, but I felt tired. I felt like I was due for a meal. I enjoyed it. It was really, really good.
You have to wait another 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. Tuesday morning, leaving our campsite. We packed everything up and we're off before 7. And it's before breakfast. So we got 6 kilometers, and we did have the tiniest hint of rain in the form of a kind of a mist earlier, but it hasn't rained since. But I have my raincoat in the top end of my knapsack, just in case. You never know.